Hey, I'd like to share with you one of the many great jazz resources that are out there for jazz education. If you've ever arranged or you want to arrange a tune for big band, you're entering a field that has a lot of potholes in it. There are very few areas where you can make more mistakes than in arranging. How you write for the instruments, how you alter the melody, how you do the harmony, how you do the background, how you pace the chart, how you write for the rhythm section. There's so many areas that you can get snagged in because there's so much in it that it's very easy to get led astray. And this book by Gary Lindsay, Jazz Arranging Techniques from Quartet to Big Band, is great because it's really a course, it's a method. It brings you from beginning to, or let's say it brings you from the starting block to very, very deep in arranging, and it's all step by step. It's fantastic. In the past, arrangers, I guess, would seem to learn by just keep arranging and making fewer and fewer mistakes until you realize what works. And that can be very time consuming, and you need a group to write for, so you can make your mistakes and you can, fix it. Well, those days are kind of gone. The times where you can play in a big band every night and try different techniques, you'd be very lucky if you could have that kind of situation. And I did it. I did all the mistakes. I wrote countless charts with the same stuff wrong in every chart because I didn't know how to do certain things. And at the time, I didn't play much piano. I still really don't play like a ranger's piano. But if you don't play piano and you're trying to figure out how to harmonize a sax section, you need some techniques. Because there is a technique involved in it. So Gary's book, excellent. I studied with Gary when I was in grad school in Miami. I took some lessons with him, and a lot of what he wrote down for me eventually became part of this book. A lot of my notes are in this book that he finally put out. This was not out when I was studying with him. This is out now. And it starts you from the beginning. And I mean the beginning, boom, how to write music. How to write music in a measure, how to divide the bar line, how to get a melody and alter it so it sounds jazzed up, how to pace a chart, low interval limits, upper structure triads, four-way close harmony, which some people call density or block voicing, drop 2, drop 4, ambichord, spreads, all these different techniques. And it comes with examples that where the score's in concert, so you can see everything, how it would relate to piano, but you see a concert score, and there's a CD in the back, and the recordings that go with this are done great. He has great people playing on it, and everything is so clear. Gary gives you just enough text so you understand what's going on, and not so much where it's, it goes on and on. Sometimes people like to write a lot. It isn't like that. It's very, very clear. If you go through this book and you make sure you understand page 1 before you go to page 2, and etc., you'll be able to go right through this thing because this is a course. It has assignments in it if you want to teach. You could use it as a text. If you want to learn on your own, you go through it yourself. Just take your time and go through it. Everything's here. And it has a little bit of orchestration, and it tells you what some instruments can do. But it really teaches you how to create voicings and how to write for a quartet. And one of the really important things that I found from teaching this subject a lot is when people write for big band, they tend to write, students I mean, they tend to go crazy with harmony and write for the horns. And when you look at the rhythm section parts, a lot of times there really is no part. There's slashes for chords, and that's it. And then they wonder how come the rhythm section is kind of, not in on the chart. Well, because the rhythm section is its own little animal, and Gary deals with that first because it's so important. And no matter what chart you write, you're going to be writing for rhythm section. So he takes care of that, which is huge. It sounds like it's just, maybe a good idea, but no, it's a great idea because I'm fixing more rhythm section parts in charts that come in because no one knows what to do with rhythm section unless you really pay attention to it. All the saxophones are saxophones. I don't know, is that a sentence? Yeah, it makes sense. You know what I mean? All the trombones are trombones. You have a bass trombone. All the trumpets are trumpets in the trumpet section. So you have the saxophone section, the trombone section, and the trumpet section. All pretty much, you know, the same. Rhythm section, piano, bass, drums, guitar. You have 4 different instruments doing 4 different things, functioning specifically to act as one section. And for each instrument, you may have to write 3 or 4, maybe 5 different ways, depending on what you want out of the rhythm section. So the rhythm section needs special care. And what Gary does is he starts you off, once he gets into actually writing for specific instruments, he gets you going with the quartet, the rhythm section. And when you get that down, you eliminate a lot of problems. So the book is actually arranged. I think the book is arranged in terms of topic based on what is most common. You're always going to be altering melodies. You're always going to be writing how do you properly write a rhythm. Simple, but if you let the computer do it, you really never learn how to do it on your own or what to look for. Sometimes the computer will give you a rhythm. You still have to go in and fix it to make it easy to read. Then he gets involved in a unison chart after you look at some of the ranges of some of the instruments. So Gary does get into that. But be careful of arranging books. Make sure when you look at arranging books that they teach you how to voice, and it's not just an orchestration book like some of the earlier books tended to be. They were great books, but if you don't play piano and you don't have a knowledge of passing chords and harmony, and that's kind of new for you, and you would like to get into how to, you know, writing for a big band and try to get that sound going on, this gets you started from the very beginning. If you do play piano, you're just that much more ahead of the game. But this book is great. I use it for teaching. I use it to help myself, and he gets involved in some other things too. Ambichords at the end, couplings. I'm not even going to get into everything here, but I'm just here to tell you, as somebody who teaches, I've used this book a lot. Great success. I have about 5 or 6 copies of this laying all over the place, and in my office at home. You can't go wrong. Gary Lindsay. In the back is the website. You could just Google it. Jazz arranging techniques from quartet to big band. You can't beat this. It's simple. It really makes things easy. And when I was studying with Gary, once again, when you study with someone who's really a great teacher and they make the topic really clear, it's just my tendency, I guess, I tend to get mad because I feel as if I had this information when I was in high school. It was so easy to understand. I would be writing this stuff that far back. So many times it's when you can get your hands on the right material, that's when you really can get started, even though you're interested. What's going to unlock your stagnant, motion in terms of learning? What's going to get you going? And this, I was lucky I studied with Gary, but this makes it so everybody can. So check it out. You won't go wrong. It's great. Easy, clear, easy to understand. Gary Lindsay, Jazz Arranging Techniques from Quartet to Big Band.